There are a lot of kids here. And if we catch you with a homosexual, the rest of your life will be a living hell. And you will be caught. Don't think you won't be caught.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments. The wave of murder which is sweeping the eastern third of the nation is being committed by creatures who feast upon the flesh of their victims.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
One never knows when the homosexual is about. He may appear normal, and it may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill. So keep with your group, and don't go off alone with strangers.
He is a dangerous, calculating criminal that knows no bounds in obtaining fulfillment of his desires. He is ill, mentally ill, and sensitive, with a wild, running imagination that will set him off at a moment's notice.
And these people realize they're somewhat driven underground. But I still believe if they had the chance to have the proper chance to be interviewed by psychiatrists and help with psychologists, that they could be brought to norm.
Untold is the fine work our churches, schools, and social agencies are doing to prevent the promiscuity which spreads infection. It is important to remember that the only sure way for the individual to avoid infection is to avoid exposure. Learn the facts with knowledge and intelligent action.
What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual, but all homosexuals are not passive. Some resort to violence.
Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny. Oh!
That's why I say they are lying, dirty, shrewd, godless, murderous, determined. It's an international criminal conspiracy.
First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent.
The companionship, the praise, the friendly attitude dispelled any misgivings Mike might have had about going with a stranger. He probably never realized until too late that he was riding in the shadow of death. But sometime that evening, Mike Merrick traded his life for a newspaper headline.
So, at this point, there is no really authentic way for us to say who or what to look for and guard yourself against. Misshapen monsters. The reaction of law enforcement officials is one of complete bewilderment at this hour. So far, we have been unable to determine that any kind of organized investigation is yet underway.
Interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder.
Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexual.
People talk about being in and out now. There was no out. There was just in.
It was as if they were identifying a thing.
He's a faggot, he's a sissy, queer.
The CBS News Public Opinion Survey indicates that sentiment is against permitting homosexual relationships without legal punishment.
Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, The killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered.
It should be done and in a medical way so that these people could be sent to centers if we feel as citizens who oppose the feeling of this illness and this homosexuality so that they could be rehabilitated.
Command Center at the Pentagon has disclosed that a ghoul can be killed by a shot in the head or a heavy blow to the skull. Officials are quoted as explaining that since the brain of a ghoul has been activated by the radiation, the plan is kill the brain and you kill the ghoul. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed. We're able to report a definite course of action for you. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
If I were surrounded by 6 or 8 of these things, would I stand a chance with them?
Well, there's no problem. If you had a gun, shoot him in the head. That's a sure way to kill him. If you don't, get yourself a club or a torch. Beat him or burn him. They go up pretty easy.
Well, Chief McClellan, how long do you think it will take you until you get the situation under control?
Well, that's pretty hard to say. We don't know how many of them there are. We know when we find them, we can kill them.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
I don't want to encourage homosexuality. I abhor it. But the fact is, where it exists and there's no rehabilitation, and there may be some people you can't rehabilitate.
Chief McClellan, how's everything going?
Oh, things aren't going too bad. Men are taking it pretty good.
Chief, do you think we'll be able to defeat these things?
Well, we killed 19 of them today right in this area. Those last 3 we caught trying to claw their way into an abandoned shed. They must have thought somebody was in there. We heard them making all kind of noise. We came over and beat them off, blasted them down.
Lying, dirty, shrewd, godless, determined, and international criminal conspiracy.
There's going to be 20, 30, maybe 100 of those things. And as soon as they know we're here, this place is going to be crawling with them.
Well, if there are that many, they'll probably get us wherever we are.
And then more police came. All of a sudden, pandemonium broke loose.
All right, Vince, hit him in the head, right between the eyes. Good shot. Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.
All right, send the wagon through directly ahead. Over. Come ahead with the motorcycle, please. Let's go!